Ah, that's much better. Move your body, change your breathing pattern, changes your attitude. Especially since Massimo's driving through the Umbrian countryside towards Orvieto, miracle of 1264 in a nothing Lazio town of Bolsena. Yeah, and what's that got to do with Orvieto? We shall see. It's fun discovering the secrets of Italy. Orvieto, its name derived from the Latin urbs vetus, ancient city, but its history goes way back to the Etruscan times. It's built on an almost vertical tufa cliff. Tufa, calcium chloride. How do you like your children? Fried or boiled? Tufa, lava stones, soft when covered by earth, hard when exposed to the air, used in carving out catacombs and casting material for gold jewelry. Annexed in the 3rd century by the Romans, after the collapse of the Roman Empire, it gained in importance. The episcopal see transferred here from Bolsena. Aha, the surface connection. It remained a Ghibellini city throughout the medieval times till the Risorgimento. Thomas Aquinas taught in the Studium, a small university, now part of the bigger University of Perugia. Now it's just a sleepy little city. Oh yeah? What a sight. That ought to rot your socks. I mean, look at it. Have you ever seen such a facade like this anywhere else? Not even the Duomo in Firenze. But why do I always go to the city's Duomo first? Because it was, and still is to some extent, the center of city life. It was the center of knowledge, religion, history, politics, art, and sometimes miracles, as in this case. And most importantly, the community center. Before going on, let's examine it more closely. A little history now. The Duomo was started in 1290, constructed by Fra Benvignate de Perugia, based on a design by Arnolfo di Cambio. In 1309, architect Lorenzo Maitani was commissioned to solve some design problems. He created this facade and much of the interior before he died in 1330, shortly before the Duomo was finished. Coronation of the Blessed Mother by Christ is based on the 14th century designs of Cesare Nebbia, but they've been redesigned and replaced, first in 1713, then again in 1842. This beautiful rose window was built by the artist Orcagna in 1354 to 1380. The evangelist bas-reliefs are by Maitani. More of these golden mosaics with the crowned Madonna. Italian Romanesque rounded arches above our modern 1970 set of bronze doors. I can't help but show it again. It's spectacular. Above the doors are 4 statues. You can only see 3. We'll deal with the 4th one shortly. One each representing one of the 4 evangelists, all by Maitani. Underneath them are 4 Maitani piers. Starting from the left, the first concerns the creation, the second, the prophecy of redemption, and the third, scenes from Christ's life. We'll deal with the 4th, the last judgment. The winged ox, the iconography for the evangelist Luke. You want to know why? I know. You look it up. Once again, exercise your curiosity. The acanthus tree, the tree of life, Christ at the top, on Judgment Day. The sheep on his right, the goats on his left, the former to paradise, the latter to hell. Look at Satan, his head circled by snakes, his hands encircled by tails of dragons as he tramples on the damned. A devil kicking one of the damned in the ass. Almost enough of this fantastic facade. Look, even the spaces in the columns are mosaicked. Or is that mosaicked? No, whatever. Let's go in and be awestruck. Another animal. This time they support the base of the baptismal font. It's the laminated Duomo. alternating travertine and basalt. The interior really grips you. It's the contrast between the spectacular facade and the simple yet arresting nave. The Signorelli Chapel, or the Chapel of Nudes. The frescoes were started by Fra Angelico in 1447. You'll see him again in Florence. He quit after doing only 2 vault triangles. In 1490, Pinturicchio lasted but 5 days. 99.9% was done by Luca Signorelli starting in 1499, finishing in 1504. The chapel's theme is the Last Judgment, Heaven and Hell. Around the walls at the lower level are frescoes of famous writers and philosophers: Homer, Empedocles, Lucan, Horace, Ovid, Virgil, and Dante, watching the unfolding disaster, except Dante, who is preoccupied writing his Divine Comedy. The first panel is the coming of the Antichrist. In the center, a look-alike for Christ, but with the devil whispering in his ear. In front are gifts piled up by the corrupted followers. To the left is a whore selling herself. Ha! It's a painter's revenge. It's the portrait of a woman who'd recently dumped Signorelli. Looking at the full-frame panel again, there's one more item of interest. In the far lower left corner are 2 men in black. In the foreground, it's Signorelli, and in the background, the predecessor, Fra Angelico. The panel to the right, in contrast, are nudes. The nudes of paradise. Lots of soft, celestial music of the spheres. Angels. And all sorts of boring. The next 2 panels are the damned on the left and the resurrection of the body on the right. Let's liven it up a bit. More nudes. More nudes. The angels trumpeting the resurrection of the body. They can't wait to get out of their graves. The damned. You want nudes? Man, have we got nudes. They're writhing and twisting and pushing and shoving themselves away from the devilish demons. Above this tortured mass flies a demon with a buxom woman on his back. Yes, yes, another portrait of the artist's ex-mistress. By the by, the big Mick, Michelangelo, master of the male nude, was very impressed, made many sketches of these figures, and found prime inspiration for the Sistine Chapel. The Miracle of Bolsena, the Cappella del Corporale, Chapel of the Corporal. In 1263, a German priest, Peter of Prague, stopped at Bolsena on his pilgrimage to Rome. A pious priest, but he had difficulty in believing that Christ was truly present in the consecrated host, the unleavened bread. It was an era of Berengarianism, a rampant European heresy which denied the true presence of Christ in the Eucharist, the consecrated host, the bread. The Mass, whenever and wherever it is said, is a sacrifice where the community offers the fruit of the land and the work of their hands, the unleavened bread and wine, and in turn, through the power of the Holy Spirit, with the words of the consecration, accipite et manducate ex hoc omnes, hoc est enim corpus meum, quod pro vobis tradetur. Take this, all of you, and eat it. This is my body, which will be given up for you. At that instant, Christ is truly present in the unleavened bread, the host. And then the wine is consecrated with the words, accipite et bibite ex eo omnes, hic est enim calix sanguinis mei. Take this, all of you, and drink from it. This is the cup of my blood. And at that moment, the wine is transformed into the blood of Christ. In 1263, the instant the host was consecrated and raised in the hands of the priest above his head for the people to see and worship, blood dripped from the host onto the corporal, a piece of white cloth laid on the altar on which the host rested. You can see the corporal behind the glass, above the altar. Shortly after the consecration of the bread and wine, the priest eats his own host, and you now see him drinking the wine, the blood, before giving the body and blood to the congregation. This is the reliquary in which the corporal is placed before being carried in procession on the feast day of Corpus Christi. This feast day was declared as the result of the miracle of Bolsena by Pope Urban IV, and Thomas Aquinas wrote the famous two hymns still sung today, O Salutaris Hostia and the Tantum Ergo. I could have spent more time here, but that's for another trip. Ah, fresh blood admiring the Zebra Duomo. A last look at this breathtaking edifice and the glory within. Maestro, traveling music. I'm off on the next phase of my northern Italian journey to Castiglione della Pescaia and Peter Van Wood's summer home, Pienza and Siena.